So March not only saw the return of the original Ghostbusters in the new movie Frozen Empire, but it also saw the brief return of one of the original ghosts from the 1984 movie. I mean, not only one of, the first original ghost that we ever saw. So today, it's the perfect opportunity for us to take a look back at the Diamond Select Library Ghost. Let's take a look now. Hi all, Chris here, and I've had this Diamond Select's Library Ghost figure boxed just sort of sitting on my shelf for ages, and I haven't really had the desire to open it up. It's just I've just had so many other figures to get to first, but with the Library Ghost making her return in Frozen Empire, it kind of feels like the right time to open this figure up and give you my thoughts on it. Now, this definitely isn't a new figure. As you can see, the Diamond Select range of Ghostbusters figures has been around for a while now. This Library Ghost was part of Wave 5, and that came out in June, I believe, of 2017. So a few years old now. But considering since Hasbro have had the license, we've seen so little in the way of ghosts, I still think that these Diamond Select ghosts are really relevant and still really useful to have in your collection if you can pick them up. Even though this is technically a slightly different scale to the Plasma series, the Diamond Select figures are typically a 7-inch scale, so closer to the NECA figures that you get today. I still think you'll get many useful posability options with this Library Ghost with any newer Ghostbusters figures that you have. But I would say the Diamond Select figures themselves are still fairly affordable. The Ghostbusters themselves especially, and figures like Walter Peck and Janine, they're still fairly easy to pick up for around the £20, $25 mark. And I have a lot of Diamond Select figures that we can dive into at some point. Perhaps we'll take a long look at the entire range. But for now, let's just have a look at this Library Ghost. Let's have a look at the box and see what we think. So as you can see, the box itself, excellent look at that Library Ghost on the front. Really, really clear look at the ghost through this nice blister packaging that you get. And you can see all of the accessories that you get with it as well, including that book stacking, which I'm really looking forward to having some fun posing. What a great gruesome image that you get on the side here, the side view of the Library Ghost transforming when Ray tries to get her, as we see. Nothing else on the other side here. And then on the back, you also see another sort of 3D rendering of the figure and a blurb regarding the Library Ghost there, along with the accessories. You can see the other figures that are also available in Wave 5, which is the Zombie Taxi Driver and the Terror Dog, and also an image of the rooftop diorama that you can build when you've collected all 15 of the Diamond Select figures. But that's the box. So I think we should take a look at the figure and all of its accessories. So if we start with the figure itself, I think the sculpt on this is incredible, really. So it's the transformed version of the Library Ghost, the more primal, ghostly version that we see when the Ghostbusters first try and catch her. And I mean, the level of detail on this sort of sculpted dress that she is wearing is incredible. I think perhaps the figure is a little too bright purple. You know, it doesn't quite match the way that it looks in the movie in that respect. But I don't hate the fact that it is more colourful than it is seen in the movie. On the shelf, there is so much green and khaki colours that having this bright purple pops really nicely. The head sculpt is incredible, especially that jaw, the deep red and the yellow teeth against it, and the hair as well. The way that the hair is going kind of Super Saiyan, it's going crazy in the background. But the dress is the real winner. The way that it seems to sit in layers with all of the different gaps that shows the tears, and the way that the dress moves around the arms, just underneath there, you can just see that even the attention to like detail, so showing the bottom of the ghost as well, the way it tapers away. But yeah, looking at these sort of rags of the dress that wrap around the arms, give it that real sort of kinetic sort of motion feeling to the figure. And I can't say enough good things about this dress. I think it's incredible. And just a little bit more close up here, the detail on the skin, the sinew, the muscle that you're seeing sculpted onto this figure, I think is so impressive, and something that is lacking in a lot of the more modern Ghostbusters figures. So we look at articulation, full Exorcist head movement there on the figure, and there is also a decent up and down head movement on it as well, so I'm really pleased with that. The figure gets into a decent T-pose, almost perfect T-pose there, so pleased with that. That's useful. Although the arms don't sit flat against the ghost, that's a little disappointing, but when you're posing her, I doubt you'll be posing her with arms by sides. A single joint in the elbow, and there is twist and a good amount of bend and pivot on the wrists as well, and you can see the detail on the hands there with the yellow fingernails, which is really nice. There is kind of a torso twist here as well, although probably serves very little in the way of functionality on the figure, as there's nothing below the torso, but it's nice that there's a little bit of articulation there as well. But as there is no lower half to this figure, that's kind of articulation over, really. But we'll pop her down and we'll take a look at some of the accessories that come with her as well. We can get her to stand up. There we go. So let's have a look at the symmetrical book stacking. And as we all know,
no human being would stack books like this.
So clearly it is a ghostly occurrence. And I'm, again, really loving the detail on this accessory. I think it is one of the coolest and most unique accessories that I have for any of my Ghostbusters figures. I love the multitude of different colours that you can see in here, and the fact that you can kind of make out little lines of different pages within each of the books. They've really gone to town on this accessory. I mean, the level of painted detail as well. None of the different paints from the different books bleed into each other, and it stands up really easily, so I love that. It also comes with a stand for the ghost, so that the ghost can be floating in midair as well. You can see a little hole on the back of the ghost there, and the stand will just push into that. Although I will say the stand is not great out of the box, but we'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. We also have two accessories, or two additions to the diorama as well. But actually, this gargoyle terror dog is kind of like a cool figure in its own right. It's incredibly heavy as well. I'm really surprised by the weight of this figure. I guess you don't get something this good with every figure for the diorama. A lot of them are going to come with pieces of wall or pieces of floor. But to get an entire terror dog in gargoyle form, I love that. And it really doesn't bother me that I haven't got all of the diorama pieces, because this will sit on a shelf on its own absolutely fantastically, and I can position him with any of the terror dogs I've gotten from the Diamond Select or the Hasbro Pulse ranges. And it also then comes with a pillar from the diorama as well, which is less cool, but I mean, again, stands on its own, so I haven't really got a problem with that. But I'm really impressed with this terror dog, and I think we'll definitely take a more detailed look at it in a little bit. But so there's not a huge number of accessories with this figure, but I do think that what you get is really good value for money when you consider that that terror dog can almost double up as a figure in its own right. So let's take a look now at this library ghost in a couple of poses. And first of all, I've just got her in a relaxed pose on the stand so that you can see how the stand fixes and how the ghost hangs when she's on that stand. And one thing I will say is when the stand comes out of the box, it definitely isn't the most sturdy piece of kit. What I've had to do is get the stand into the right places and then utilize the little screws on each hinge in order to tighten them and make it so that the stand works in a more sort of reliable way. But when it's on, I think it's super effective when the ghost is floating. So yeah, again, I really do think that having the stand in here was essential to creating that character and creating that look from the movie. I think it would have been far less effective if we'd have got a library ghost in her more human form, just sort of standing, you know, in period clothing. I don't think it would have looked as effective on the shelf against all of the Ghostbusters. This version of the library ghost, I think, is incredibly impressive from a detail standpoint. So as I mentioned in that close-up, the sinew and the muscle and the wrinkles across the board on the flesh of this figure are so impressive. And it just makes me wish we'd gotten ghosts for the Hasbro Plasma series instead of just more and more Ghostbusters. And I know that we got Gozer and I know that we got a Build-A-Figure Pterodog. And obviously the additional Pterodog in the Lewis Tully double pack. But really, I mean, that's it from a ghost standpoint. I don't count the Egon in the Afterlife family that busts together as a ghost. I'm talking about villains, something that the Ghostbusters can be put into positions and fight with. So I love that we can still get hold of something that is usable, even if it is from a few years ago. And as I said before, the face sculpt on this library ghost as well looks so true to the movie. And I guess that it is probably slightly easier for a company such as Diamond Select to take something that doesn't look particularly human or like a famous actor and make the face sculpt fit. So I really do think that this face sculpt for me feels exactly like the library ghost did in the movie. But I think that mouthpiece is so effective. The deep red that you get on the inside of the mouth and the yellow of the teeth really are striking against that more pale lilac violet skin tone that the ghost has got. And that skin tone, the mottled effect that they've used that darker purple, that darker violet colour on the skin to give it that mottled feel, that more realistic look to the figure. Again, it's just such an achievement to make the figure look as realistic as it does. I've spoken about the quality of the dress already, but when you stand back and look at this figure in its incredibly striking silhouette, the dress really has character in and of itself. So as I said, the way that it just sits on top of different layers and it almost flows like it's not fabric, but it's a liquid almost. And the way that flows around her body and her arms gives, as I say before, a really kinetic feel, as if it's moving around the figure as we look at it. The holes and the tears as well give the dress even more character. So I am really, really impressed with this figure, and I'm so pleased that I took it out of the box, really. I'm not an inbox collector, and I'm so glad that I've got the opportunity here to be able to pose this figure with my Ghostbusters. And I love this symmetrical book stacking as well. I really do think that is so impressive that we've actually got something like this to pose with the Ghostbusters. Really, really like this symmetrical book stacking. I think it's really effective. And then just to talk about this Gargoyle Pterodog, it is really stunning, actually. If I wasn't building a diorama, I wouldn't be disappointed in this at all, and I definitely wouldn't be leaving it in the box. It really does feel like a character in its own right. And I think it would look really effective stacked next to the actual Pterodogs that you get in, like I say, both the Hasbro Pulse Plasma Series figures and the Diamond Select figures. And I actually personally think that the Hasbro Pterodogs look better than the Diamond Select Pterodogs, but I mean, that might be an unpopular opinion. So yeah, I really like this. I'm glad that it's there. I am glad to have it in my collection. So yeah, overall, I am really, really pleased with this figure. This figure is so cool. It really is. And it's something different. And I think possibly down to how bright and colourful it is, it really contrasts with the Ghostbusters figures themselves and a lot of the side characters. There are so many muted colours within these ranges, but having something bright and purple or having the bright green Slimer with them adds that layer of fun and energy to, posing these figures. So drop down in the comments and let me know, was this a figure you ever collected at the time? Do you like this library ghost figure? Was it a disappointment at the time? I wasn't collecting these Diamond Select figures back in 2017, so I couldn't say whether or not I would have loved to have seen this as part of the original set of 15. And let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the fact that Hasbro never really released a great deal in the way of ghosts with their Ghostbusters figures? I guess the problem there, if it's a slightly limited range, is that they want figures they know are going to sell. And perhaps the ghosts technically aren't, the most popular figures. It's a bit of a risk. Do they end up being peg warmers? I don't know. But yeah, drop in the comments and let me know what you think. Also, please hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video. Really helps me out. And also consider subscribing to my channel for more reviews and news. Our community would love to have you, so please come and join us. We've been doing quite a few Ghostbusters videos recently, and I've got so many more figures in my cabinets to talk about, so I can't wait to deep dive into more of those. But either way, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been great spending some time with you. And if Ghostbusters figures interest you, why not take a look at this video next? Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you all take care, Bye bye now.